Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and today we are lucky to have a friend and from Onagi Nation, a beautiful lady, a journalist by profession, a writer, authentic, pragmatic. So she has all those. Let me take this opportunity and give a chance to introduce herself to our viewers.
Well, thank you for the plethora of encomium, A pragmatist, authentic. Thank you, Brother Benson, for hosting me. It's a pleasure to talk to a fellow Nagi.
Yes. Thank you so much also for honoring our invites. And first of all, I want to tell our viewers that there's one person that is behind this, that she needs her flower. She has done an amazing job, and may God bless her wherever she is, and let her continue doing a good job that she has been doing, and may God give her long life.
Amen. Rosie, your flowers are sent
Uh,
in the land of the living. You don't
okay.
want to put bouquet on your grave.
Yeah, that's what we're not going to do. We have just to give
Right?
them when they're still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much also for your time in your busy schedule to give us time to have a conversation with you on our set on Brother Benson Media platform. So
Thank you.
I know so many people knows you, and that is no doubt about it. And maybe a few of our viewers who requested that we can host you might not know you. So maybe in a nutshell, maybe you just describe for us who is Aoko.
But you did it in a nutshell. That will be just reiterating what you said.
No, you
Anyway,
might.
my name is Coffin
Yeah.
Aoko Otieno. My pen name is Maverick Aoko,
Mhm.
or should I say Aoko Otieno? I don't usually use the name Coffin because I say I ghettoized that name. I argued as I got a little bit acquainted with my African roots that I really can't explain. If you ask me what Coffin means, I cannot explain.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
but if you ask me what Aoko means and Otieno means, so I think I go mostly with the name Aoko Otieno because, like you said, I'm trying to be authentic to my true self and my roots as a Luo woman, as an African lady.
thank you so
I
much.
was born in Nairobi, but I'm a native of Nyakach, Koguta, Kisumu County. I also happen to have another home in Migori, Suna West Oruba. So I think I've gone through counties, which is a blessing, I'd say.
Okay. Uh, Thank you so much. And maybe before we go into the main discussion or the main conversation between me and you and our viewers who is watching, um, your school life or your life in general, how were you brought up and where were you brought up?
I was brought up in Kawangware.
Mm.
I won't really say that my family was one of penury. We were able to afford basic needs. I schooled partly in Kawangware in Nairobi, Gatina Primary up to class 6, and then I went to Nyakwere Primary where I did my, Nyakwere is in Nyakach.
Mhm.
Now that's my home area. So did my KCPE, passed, was actually the only girl from those days, it was Nyando.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, who got a calling letter for Nyakat girls. Unfortunately, I was expelled, so probably you can say my independent mindedness did not start yesterday. I
Okay.
differed with the authority at Form 1.
Mhm.
I got expelled, but I did my Form 4 at Nyongonga Secondary School. Went to KIMC for my diploma in journalism. I specialized in print, so that also explains probably how I'm erudite in writing because I was trained in it. There's aspect of probably being gifted, but gift has to be nurtured. So my writing gift was nurtured at KMC. After that, I got a job with the Standard Media, was posted in Migori as a correspondent. And then later in life, I joined UN for my political science.
Okay, thank you very, very, very much. But I want to bring you to where some, I would say, conflicts, or not even not conflicts, but where some hate usually comes from, especially from your wording. You call them women of my generation. Um, from how you usually talk or how you usually give your views on some matters, you find it's not kind of like going well with some of women of your generation. Why do you think that's so?
Uh, Truth is always a bitter pill to swallow, but and then the argument is sometimes we get what you're saying, but it's your wording that is a little bit harsh. I don't think that's it. There's no other way to put reality than in its raw nature. Yeah, and that does not mean that probably my projections or my assertions and sentiments mean that I am absolved from guilt. In fact, I don't usually say you women, I say we, which means I'm also part of those who are failing. I'm also part of those who are deteriorating. I'm also part of those who are detached. But I accepted the truth, and that's why I am sharing it so that we can one day somebody can stand up and say there was a lady who told us the truth. Somebody spoke up when things were, going haywire and awry.
Um, if I bring you back to around 2 to 3 years ago, actually you were one in one of the shows, and I might not quote it as you might have said it, but I can paraphrase. You said not the exact wording that you use, but like to give it a meaning. You said the more women are empowered, yeah, the more they feel they are equal to men.
To men.
Yes. What did you mean by that? Does it mean that you don't like women empowerment or?
No, far from it.
Mhm,
Actually, I'm equally an empowered woman, or en route to
mhm,
the acme of empowerment. I'm still en route, but there's some semblance of empowerment in me. I can fend for myself. I'm independent minded. I am educated, probably not much, but still en route. So I don't think there's any other definition of empowerment more than that. I am a living testimony of how impeccable women empowerment is and can be. But then it does not mean that we lose our femininity. You cannot. Empowerment is not a competition with the opposite sex. It's just to lift you up, to give you tools and the wherewithal that probably our grandmothers and our mothers were denied, probably because of patriarchy, culture, or mores, and a myriad of reasons that one can point. But then we've weaponized empowerment, probably because for a very long time, and sometimes I understand where women are coming from. When you've been subjugated for a very long time, when finally you're given some leeway to breathe, you become rebellious. You're like, when you shackles have been, lifted from you, manacles have been removed from your wrists. Now you're like, now I will show you after all these years, you're putting us down. Now you will see. I think that is the trajectory and the attitude that women have embraced. And I think that is probably where we need to tone down a tad bit.
so, but you see, like when you give your opinion like that, on how you feel, you find that they feel in a way that you are not supporting them, or you don't believe in that empowerment. You know.
Support is multifaceted. As a child, probably when probably your father or your parents scolded you, did it mean that they were less your parents? or you are less their child?
No.
Exactly. Just because I pinpoint a few areas that we could improve on does not make me less of a woman or make me less inert to the struggles and the achievements that women have come through or gone through.
Okay. And there was also a time when one of the comedians uh, put a price tag or a value on herself, especially for any man who would be interested in marrying her.
Marrying her.
Yes, and you also gave your opinion, and I think like the social media went on
Blew
fire
up.
based on that. Do you think it's not right for a lady maybe to place a price tag on herself and say that I'm worth 2 million
It's,
for
it's it's absolutely preposterous, brother Ben, because as women, we keep saying that see us as human beings. Don't see us as commodities. Don't dehumanize us and see us as things, properties you can acquire. So on one side you want to be seen as a human being who can come to the table and can be listened to, whose faculties are no less than that of a man, and then you put a price tag on your head, then you have no point crying when they buy you, when they see you as something to be used and disposed.
so
Exactly.
that might be the reason why some like women of your generation sometimes do not get your thoughts and they feel like you are not part of them, you are part of the men of today or the men of our generation.
Oh, well, I don't know if to take that as a compliment, but what's wrong with being part of men? Uh, there are fathers, there are brothers. Without masculinity, there's no humanity.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you so much for that. And maybe let's come to the second category. In your career as a journalist, um, um, coming from all the way from that background of your family whereby it was not a very a wealthy background, and this is a young lady um, going to Migori to be part of the prints. How was the experience as somebody working in Migori?
I was lucky because my mother had been in Migori for like 5 years prior to before I went there.
Mhm.
So it was easy because I had a support system. I had where to lay my head. I had somebody to take care of me. I had somebody to show me the terrain, a fallback plan, and everything. So I think that one made it easier. But a little bit because now I was fresh from college, uh, just getting acquainted with the newsmakers, the politicians, and everybody involved in the newsmaking cycle. It was a tad bit of a challenge, but I think I maneuvered it quite well.
Okay, that's good. You talked about politician, and politicians are our leaders. They are. We look at them as um, the fathers, the people that we admire, and ad- and if you're working with them, there's that notion that we might be having like you've made it because like they're policymakers, they have connections. Just in brief, how was your time maybe as a journalist and also interacting with the politician was how was it?
Politicians are human beings, and every human being has their own idiosyncrasies. They have their own personalities. So each experience with each politician is different. Somebody will respect you as a woman, as a journalist. Somebody will probably will not. Somebody will, is easy to access because they see you bring value. So it's a symbiotic relationship. And there are those who have elevated themselves, even just getting hold of them. They have to run you in circles, run you in circles. And then you find that the election time, the electioneering period, they're the ones who are looking for you.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking you this, and I know there have been so many stories around, especially you, and I don't want you to go into details what happened, but I want to look at it in a very different perspective based on these are our leaders that we look at. You are a young lady who is trying to find life, then you are interacting with them, then some story come out, and I don't want you to mention about the story, but I want us to learn something about what transpired, especially with one of the politicians. I don't want to mention them, but you working as a communication unit. Yeah, how was it working? How was it for you?
Well, you already know.
Yes, I already know what happened. Yeah, yeah,
So,
but
what
like
exactly? What
what
angle are you fishing for?
what the angle that I want to know as a young lady who is trying to find life, yeah, and what happened.
Let me just say, I've worked with politicians across the divide. Those who are in power, those probably from 2017 when I was covering the elections, and then after that, and now getting into, I worked with them as a journalist. I've worked with them as a writer and as a blogger, and I would say the experience. Let me just say, Luo politicians. My experience with Luo politicians is a little bit traumatizing. Yeah, of course, there are the other ones that, of course, people say, like, I supported the other divide in 2022. As much as the claims of they did not give me what was due to me, but no one asked me for all these intimate things. And that's the difference. And when at the period that I was working with them, when somebody gave you a task, they paid you commensurate with what they've told you or what you're doing for them without attaching any intimate, abracadabra to it. Yeah, so
So,
that's my experience. So I'll just say my experience with the Luo politicians is a tad bit different.
so what kind
And
of
that is why I don't think you're seeing any young woman right now in Luo who has a politician that has held her hand. Show me one. Show me one young woman who can say, and is talking about a male politician, not female, because of course women, there's that women empower each other, there's that, tittle tattle. But what is wrong with a male politician holding the hand of a young Luo woman with potential without wanting anything in return? For example, like how Babu and I are.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very hard.
So it can that one inform us on sometimes how we see the politics, how when there's a rally, instead of talking about the policy of that particular or the policies that I'm planning to implement or a bill that I'm going to bring in parliament, there's this kind of politics whereby they use the women body to describe their politics in a way to pull up crowds.
Just gesturing is normal in politics.
Mhm,
Of course, in Luoland, it's a little bit overdone,
mhm,
but I don't think it's different in other parts. If
mhm,
you go to Meru the other day, the Meru governor was crying in the Senate because the Mpuri guy used her body parts at a rally.
Aye.
So it's not peculiar to Luo, even though in Luoland, I think sometimes we overdo it.
Mhm,
I used to work as a PA for the former Migori woman rep
mhm,
during the handshake. And there was this thing that women started, it was called Embrace. They were embracing the BBI.
mhm,
So they used to go to other woman reps counties. And there was a time we went to Kiambu. And the experience shocked me. It was a weekday, and there was no youth anywhere in that function asking for Gonya.
mm,
They were in their borders, their farms, their small businesses, but try it in Luoland.
mm,
The moment they hear, they smell, they sniff a politician around, they'll even close their shop to come for that 200 Bobby Agon. So we are their enablers. You know, they behave like that because we have enabled them.
mm,
So it's incumbent upon us as the people, the masses, the hoi polloi of Luoland to change our mindset, to change the way we view these politicians.
mhm,
And things I believe will change for Luos.
mhm. Okay, that's okay. We will come back to that. Let's come back again into another life that you have when it comes to social media. Yeah, because like right, when I'm speaking to you here, I know I'm speaking to uh, authentic one, and when it comes to social media, sometimes what we see on social media, especially when you're trying to express yourself, is quite much different with who I'm speaking to right now.
And
Yeah.
that is why I told you when we began, there is Aoko Chino and there's Maverick Aoko. Those are two personalities. So that social media part has to exist. That is how you'll know me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So sometimes it exists, and maybe
Of
you.
course, it exists. Even when we end this interview, the person that you will see on Twitter is absolutely different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what when you go with that social media and you find like the majority of the population might make a negative question about you, how
No,
that.
I don't give a rat's ass. After all, they are following me. Right now, they are like 135,000 that I did not call on my timeline. I never sent anybody any message, come and follow me. And the
eh,
followers increase anyway. So people are just pretenders. People are hypocrites.
mm,
Yeah, on one. In fact, they wake up to check what has Aoko treated today with all that
mm,
the cantankerous and multitudinous nature that they see.
mm,
Mm.
okay. So and you feel like sometimes there's some of the information that you want to send to the public. You feel like through social media is the best way to send it, even if it
Should
is
I
so
send
much
it through
sensitive.
smoke and the drums or through letters, through posts?
But like sometimes when you send it that way, some people feel like this is not the right way.
Let me tell you, who told you? The onus is not on me to be likable. The
Mhm,
onus is on me to speak my truth and be myself.
mhm,
How somebody is going to consider my statement is the cup of latte to sip. I
mhm,
can't wake up every day trying to impress everybody. I'll die from brain hemorrhage.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. When you left journalism, or when you left
When I
Migori.
stopped practicing journalism actively, once a journalist, always a journalist.
Okay, when you stop practicing, um, you worked with Honorable Jalang'o for quite some time. How
Yeah.
was your experience in working with Jalang'o?
Ah, awesome.
Mm,
The best boss I've ever had. It's only that he was the company and the company was him. So when he left it for politics,
mhm,
Arena Media, nowadays you don't see the Luo nights that the Arena Media used to organize.
mhm,
You don't see Bonga Najalas, the Obina has now come and taken over. You know, the strength, the oomph of that farm, the
sure.
Arena Media is gone when he went.
So when you compare a society of Jalang'o and society with other politicians, what kind of picture does it give you of those our two leaders?
I think Jalang'o was a great boss because of his journey.
Mhm,
If you look at his journey from Homa Bay, a fishmonger, if he tells you even how he got his job at Kiss 100, in fact, they wanted people with degrees. He did not even have a diploma.
mhm,
Yeah, so he resonates with the stories and journeys of a lot of people. And I think that is what makes him a leader who cannot exploit you
mhm.
because he's been there. He started from the bottom and he understands the terrain and what involves and the struggles and challenges that comes with starting life from the bottom.
Okay. Speaking of Mwesh, Jalang'o, you know very well in the initial stages when election was over and the Supreme Court, they were the first people to actually go to State House or to work with the president, His Excellency President William Ruto. And at the backyard of Onagi, there are so many that was said. And rumorsly, he said even honorable member was taken out of the WhatsApp group. Like he could not even get information concerning the party,
It's true.
being labeled as a traitor.
Mhm.
But as things now stand,
Mhm.
we are all geared towards the same place, or we are right.
Which place is that?
We are with President Ruto for
Who is we?
the Onagi. Even Baba is.
What do you mean? Who made you the spokesperson for Nagi?
No, I'm not. But these are some of the things that we see because, like, Baba, Baba,
What do
Baba,
you see?
Baba is running for the chairmanship of AU, yeah, and
Yeah,
the
because
system,
700,000 Luos refused to vote.
the
Ruto beat him by only 200. Now he has to sit and dine with his detractors just so he can finish. Let me tell you,
yeah,
the truth is, if Raila could not defeat Ruto
mm-hmm,
with the incumbent on his side, the deep state machinery, the finances, if he could not beat Ruto at that time,
mm-hmm,
when Ruto who was, you know, facing a lot of bottlenecks, then he cannot defeat Ruto now.
mm-hmm.
So he understands that. That does not meet in any way. I'm not here as a spokesperson for Ruto. I'm just speaking my reality. And of course, it's subject to being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot beat Ruto now that Ruto is seated on that seat firmly with his two bums and with the power of incumbency and resources that he controls.
Mm-hmm.
So, in doing so, he cannot spend his sunset years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what do I say? Protesting
Mm-hmm.
and being thrown tear gas at
Mm-hmm.
and being seen as a, as a troublemaker. So when an opportunity presented itself from there to finish his career at the pinnacle, of course he took it. Now in politics, sometimes you have to swallow your pride. He has to dine with these people and intermingle and interact with these people and probably genuflect to a few of their demands here and there, just so, because it behooves them. It's all on them. The buck stops with them to, project him and propel him to that AUC seat. So what is Mzee supposed to do?
I think, but now if you compare when people, when the honorable members like Jalang'o went there and the backlash that they had, but right now nobody is talking about what is happening. Does it mean that democracy, we've not matured in terms of democracy, or what does that one mean?
Actually, we've matured in terms of democracy because
Mm-hmm.
I saw you, dear, held very peaceful grassroots elections in Homa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, full of tranquility and professionalism. No one was beaten.
Mm-hmm.
There was no violence. There's always this notion that Luos are violent. No, we are not. We only respond to provocation, but we are not violent.
Uh,
So
okay.
I think I don't think there's a community that is more democratic
Mm,
than Luo.
mm,
At the moment, you see how Kikuyus are bickering,
yeah.
and we are loyal. We, even those of us who probably sometimes will throw barbs here and there towards Mzee. At the end of the day, if push comes to shove, he's our leader. He's the leader of our communities, the leader of our people, and probably the leader of a lot of other things. But at the end of the day, the issue was not, because we cannot see one moment
Yeah.
you're carrying a huge box full of evidence to the Supreme Court, of course, even though it was hot air. But then the next minute, you are drinking tea at State House. Like, did you ever believe in the ideology of ODM? Because that transition was too fast. The
Totally.
alacrity with which they transitioned
Mm,
showed, even when they were going to the ballot. Okay, that I would understand when people say they are tumbocrats,
mhm.
because they went there believing that probably Mzee is done. Yeah, he's lost, and his gambit and his chandelier is dimming, and he's kaput.
Yes, done.
But then they did not realize that there's a reason why this Mzee, even those of us who are not a part of his herd, recognize that he's the enigma. He rises like a phoenix. Look at him now.
Yeah, like you cannot write him off at any
You
time.
you you will only write him off the day you see we are shoving mchanga tumemfunika 6 feet under. That is the day you will underrate this mzee.
And you know, like
Of
the
course,
other
he
day.
has his flaws, and those flaws of his have posed a big challenge, and it's part of the reason why we've never clinched. Like in 2022, he's a very stubborn guy, and he doesn't listen to counsel. He listened to a couple of some idiots. I'm sorry to use these words. I know your show is respectful in everything,
Yeah.
but if he surrounded himself with people who tell him the truth, who don't camouflage, who don't massage his ego and use veneers, then I think this Mzee would have clinched this seat kitambo sana. Because if you look, even if you read the book that this Kanchori guy wrote,
Yeah.
there are very minute mistakes. Like you go to him, or his dear family member has stopped you from seeing him. Then you talk to him, he goes and tell what you said. He go and discusses with somebody who is torpedo that, you know,
Mm.
money is given to tumbocrats. Money for agents was given to tumbocrats who are busy using it to build apartments here in Nairobi. I mean,
Yeah. Yet
anyway,
we are going through heartbreak. Somebody's
it's
enjoying somewhere.
trauma.
Oh no.
We are still crying en mass.
Mass, and anyway, those are there. Now let's come to Onagi Nation. As
Yeah.
you say, our great leader, Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, will hopefully, if he clinch the seat of chairmanship of.
Yeah, you see, it's his to lose. It's his to lose.
uh,
Everything has aligned in his favor. It's only my worry is every time we think he's clinching something,
yeah,
it slips from his fingers. But we hopefully,
yeah, we pray,
yeah,
we
we're
pray
praying for
that
him.
that is our hope. We pray so hard that
Mm.
Baba should
For the
get.
sake of Luos, let him finish his tenure or his politics as the CEO of Africa, man.
Yes, that
Yeah.
that would be good. Now let's come to the politics of Lua Nyanza, and
Hmm.
um, what will happen
Mm.
when he leaves the scene of Lua Nyanza at
Of
some
course,
point?
he's leaving the scene.
Mhm.
Uh, Theoretically,
Yeah,
yeah, but practically he's still the and will always be the ODM leader until probably the day he breathes his last. He'll just remove that clock
mhm.
of local politics and hang it and go for the global, the continental and global clock. But when he comes back, his hat is still waiting for him,
So he will.
complete with the plumes and the feathers. Now, of course, there's assumption that there's going to be a lacuna, because I don't think he'll come from given his age.
Mhm.
When he finishes his tenure at AUC, I think it's 4 years,
Yeah.
comes back, he'll be, I don't know, in his late 80s or mid 80s. So
Mhm.
I don't think at that age he'll come back to start hustling with the local politics. It will not befit his status and him being the consummate statesman that he is.
Mhm.
So that brings us to the conversation of that there's going to be a lacuna, there's going to be a gap, and that also explains the jostling of who is going to fill that gap once Mzee goes to AUC. Yeah.
So that's the question. Who do you feel can claim the that seat? Who can have that seat?
Embakasi East Member of Parliament Paul Owino, Paul Ongili Owino, aka Babu Owino. Because who else? Who else has that charisma? Who else has that erudition and intellect and has the ability to galvanize not only just Luos? The other day was in Kilifi.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, can one day go and hold a rally even in Kilifi market? Who
Uh,
even knows him outside? Oh, one. Okay, so the names that are being vaunted, now we're talking about Luoland.
yeah, we're looking
One
at
guy who is not even a Luo, he's a Bandu. Okay,
uh,
who else? Whose name also is there? Give me the names.
we have Babu Owino.
That one, of course, I've explained. Who we have one guy
The
who is a Bandu and lacks charisma. But
Opio
of
one
course,
guy.
he's an intellectual, and that is his nickname. But those are people without the name of Raila and the wind of Raila are non-entities.
We have Mbadi was also quoted.
Ah,
Then we have Joho, Paranya. Oh no, those are not from Monagi.
yeah.
No, so we have only three that have been mentioned and people been talking about is Babu Owino. Actually, Babu Owino is the people. Nobody has ever flouted Babu Owino's name. Is the people who are saying this time around is Honorable Babu Owino. And I know the other time they mentioned about Mbadi and Opio and I. So those are like
Let me tell you,
mhm,
number one, Luos are not going to be led by a minority, a soba.
mhm.
That's number one. Number two, he absolutely has nothing. He's a self-centered man who exploits people,
Mm,
who has never empowered anyone. Who has he ever empowered?
mm,
Absolutely nobody. If it was not for Raila Odinga, these are people. You know why I talk about why Babu stands out is he created a brand
mm.
way during his UON days.
Yes.
He's somebody who's easy to sell. He's not somebody that you can come and claim that without the name of Raila, we would not have known this person. No, he has carved his own niche. And he's not waiting for Baba to hold his hand. Look, Anajituma. You see, he's a progressive and he's driven. He's going to Kilifi and meeting people. The other day he was in Kisumu and meeting the people. He's not waiting to tag under where Raila is going and waiting for his hand to be lifted. Absolutely not.
Mm.
Yeah.
But like there are forces. I don't think like there are forces that might fight him.
They are currently.
So how is he going to deal with those forces?
He's handled those forces since his UN days.
Mm.
Yeah.
So mhm,
Besides, they are boomers. There's this generation that feels slighted that a young person has come and surpassed them.
mhm,
Yeah. At his light is brighter than while theirs is dimming, and it's not his fault. Of course, they will try to pummel him and panel beat him and cajole him, that he's going to surmount it
yeah.
majorly because he has the support of the masses behind him.
That,
Yeah, when you have the people, then it's very hard to muzzle you.
that's true. Just to there was a time I was in Kisumu and we were just having a conversation with one elderly man, Mwalimu Akach. Yeah, is one of the clips, and he's also saying like the only person that he feels would take after Baba is Babu, but not only him. Sometimes in our when we are having walk around, we
Yeah,
would
your
just
interactions with
do
people.
interactions with young people. You would
Mm,
see. So I think
mm.
Babu, we just pray for him. Not
We
that
do.
I'm not campaigning for him, but I'm speaking of the facts. Because when you look at even his life, what he's doing in Embakasi, generally, is touching lives.
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous, tremendous job. It's very hard to win a seat, especially the first term, second term in Nairobi. in a place like Embakasi.
Mhm.
But he did not go to State House to the other ones were what was the argument that they were dishing around? They went to look for development.
They want to look for development. Yes.
People like Babu are doing incredible, marvelous job without going to beg for alms at State House, man.
Uh,
I mean, and where is that development? Because whenever they come, they're the likes of Oji and who these
we
other
have
arrogant one. While this CI county is called.
okay.
Whenever they come, all they give people is 200 shillings and some rice and beans. I mean, where is the development that they promised us? I thought right now Luo Nyanza will be inundated, swimming and drowning in development.
But maybe maybe that is the kind of politics that our leaders are used to, like to what to them what is development. Maybe the commoners do not understand that 200 to them might be development.
And that is what I started by telling you. Even we are enabling them. That is what I told you when we started this conversation. We've enabled them. We've allowed them to be mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Luos have allowed their leaders to be mediocre and to be self-centered.
And like when you look at
and to be devoid of a proper productivity.
Mm-hmm. Let me hear your thought something about the age. I usually call it the ageism. Before we wind out the ageism, when you look at some counties, yeah, especially come to Nandi, or
very young,
like you look at those who are there in the holding those high posts, especially elective posts, they're still very young. But when you come to our county, especially like the Nyanza region, like the age, we are not disrespecting them, but the young
we are
people
just
are not,
stating facts.
yeah. So I usually ask myself, when will the MCA, maybe of Kondele, I know of a guy called Mr. Bungu, Honorable Bungu, who wants to run for MCA. I know of Adede Sheshe running for an MCA in Kaloleni Ward. When will this young person think of, like, I want to run for Kisumu
Okay,
Central?
the thing is this. The reason young people don't get leadership positions in ODM because in Luo Nyanza is because ODM is our dominant party. If you have the ODM certificate, you are one leg inside that office that you're looking for. More often than not, that is the case. And it just so happens that most young people do not have the resources to bribe their way through the ODM certificate because it's sold to the highest bidder. That is why it's easier for these other older people who have made money to bribe, starting from I don't know the neck people all the way to I don't know who, all the way to I don't know the entire body. So as a young person, by the time you've bribed the ODM machinery, what do you have for campaigns? Because campaigns also take resources.
So when is the time that
is the challenge? Look, for example, look at Toto. That lady. I don't think she even had more than 2 underwears by the time she was being elected. Look at this one who was this Mwirigi guy who was campaigning with one sweater. You can never find such young people in Luo Nyanza. Until you go without money, who will give you a certificate? Who will listen to you? And then this Gonya mentality. In fact, if you go to Lowland and probably you just help 2-3 kids, they will idwaro kom manager tell ikonya konya ngato man yani mano gine no ni mane gima make jasiasa miyo gi gimoro no. You just fika tu hapa hata ushuke, or you have your car na ufike hapo stage upatie hata watu wabai 50-50. The next morning they'll be at your home with a delegation. Ni wani nyiso mana comedy with you.
So how will we prosper as a community?
We don't usually sit and talk as a people. Okang'eyo ni kata radio stations ma wan goge ugo mana wangla jawa to kupuonji. There is no civic education in Luo Nyanza. Onge ji okuwo ji poko bet kako nagi. Kikuyus they always kata gipogre kamano, despite their differences, you'll find they have their Limuru ward, this faction, but they talk as a people. Now, when has Luo community ever sat down and had a candid conversation about what's going on with us as a people? Have we ever even sat down and asked ourselves why 700K Luos refused to vote? Have we? How many years after elections? Have we taken stock? Have we known what went wrong? Have we started those conversations? No. If you see us on social media, the things we are talking, while Kikuyus are talking about 1 man, 1 shillings, we are talking about good Phoebe, scandals and bullshit.
Um, mm,
Mm.
that's so. How can we change? How? What will make us change?
I think it's us youth. Of course, now we've already seen, like I've seen, you've noticed other communities are different. You've noticed, you're saying, you're wondering, which means you notice something is different with us as a people. And you sat down and mused, how comes these people are electing young people and we are stuck with this? We are not and we are not saying they're incapable. For example, in Kisumu, my Nyong'o, of course, there are a few issues here, but he's made it the cleanest city. That is great
Great.
because
Yes.
he took it from somewhere to somewhere. You know,
Yes.
I see governors have gone for waste management all the way in Ghana. They would have come to Kisumu so that Nyong'o they can benchmark with Nyong'o. Yes. So we are not saying that those who are not there. No, we are just saying, can we have a hodgepodge? Can we be a community where young people can be seen in positions other than just MCAs and heckling? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Maybe my last question before we wind up. We know right now we have our leaders who are in government, and there are those who are not in government. I might call them opposition, but you find the majority of times the only thing that we can do best is to insult one another as a
True.
community. How can we run away from that, even though we might be having different opinion and we're working different, but our onagi become our priority rather than insulting?
As low as we are aggressive people. Our aggression is disparate. It takes different trajectories. For example, if you go to the area of Kisumu, Nyakach, for a very long time we fought with Jalang'o. And that is why even you see, so that plaque and audacity, you'll find it that other side. And that is why the Air Force coup of 79 and these other coup of 82, it came from Nyakach. So the senior perpetrators were from Nyakach.
Uh,
If you come to Siaya, no, we are aggressive in that. If you come to the Siaya area, they are aggressive academically. That is why you find a plethora of professors from that side. So if only we channel our aggression productively, I think it will help us. And let's have conversation. Let's have platforms. Let's learn and relearn and unlearn. A community that has given this country Oscar from literature, a community that gave this country one of the most astute trade unionists in the entire continent, a community where has given, even, let's even, of course, somebody can argue that it's far-fetched, but we gave America their first black president. The person who fixed the traffic issue in London, of course, it's not an issue that you can finish in it's a transitional thing, but then it was a law. So this is a community that we are blessed,
okay.
and our assets have always been our.
Okay.
And now we are channeling our mind in a way that is not helping us. And one area also that bothers me is education.
Yes.
The education that you need to want, it's dwindling. You would go to a graduation square in one or any of the major universities in Kenya. Let's say, for example, University of Nairobi. And I'm talking about serious courses. Forget this Arnibon husbandry, you'll find Kalenjins there. I'm talking about serious courses, medicine, engineering, even if it's social sciences, you'll go for maybe political science, not mediocre courses. You'll find Otieno, Onyango, Ouko, from number 1 up to 30. It's just oh. That is how it used to be. Right now, if ikifika number 10, we are lucky.
So where's the
Our
problem?
boys finish from 4, class 8, Ginengwari. I don't know. I really can't explain it. Maybe I'll get an elder or somebody, but we are dissipating what we are known for, our erudition.
But our leaders, they're seeing these statistics, and none of them is talking about why.
Exactly. When they come, they are talking about other things, other mediocre things, and we indulge them. We listen to, we don't challenge them. And when you challenge them, even in social media, like sometimes I do in Twitter, you see. Because ngamani a deary. And then your story naisha hivyo.
Maverick, thank you so much for taking your time to have a conversation with us. This is a conversation that is not going to end. We will still continue to engage you in such like conversation, especially it builds, you know. And I also want to tell our viewers that the Maverick you're seeing is one of the best. Maybe somebody was coming to say, you know, but it's quite very encouraging to have such conversation with you. And maybe your last word, or maybe before you go, because I know you usually meet Mushimiwa Babu Owino.
Yeah.
Just pass this information. I need to speak to him, not even on camera, on camera or on public. Yeah, because we need also to hear his views. I know he has attended so many social media platforms and sharing his agenda, but we also have those who are following us here. Maybe one person, that one person, he can change his life. You know,
True.
just tell him we also need him in this platform.
I
If he
will.
finds time, we can
I
come
will.
and have a conversation.
Okay.
Maybe your last remarks to our viewers.
Very grateful for your time, Brother Benson, for this opportunity to interact with the community I so very much love. Sometimes you have to go through some experiences just so you realize that east or west home is best. I know the other time I sided with Jirani. But it was a way of rebelling against some of these atrocities that are being committed in Luo land by our leaders. There are those who rebelled by refusing to vote. And you see, it cost Raila the presidency because Ruto beat Raila by only 200 votes. And yet you hear 700,000 Luos refused to vote. So in a way, they were also protesting. So my protest was by conspicuously and lucidly supporting the opponent of Mzee.
Okay.
But be as it may, I think from that experience, I realized ni odu katawang. Inyalo ringa idhi ka jirani, but ok inyal dhi dak ni kod idak ka jirani. Nyaka duoga at the end of the day. Konya build mana odu. So I am absolutely back home, and my fights will be done in the mind and in the interest of the Luo community. And I'm urging us to support Mushimiwa Babu Owino and Geno Makoro Wanchirego. Luo. Of course, when you're talking about ODM leadership, there is those, the Johos, the Oparanyas, and everybody. But every community wants to have a progressive son and their leader. It's just how we are and how sociopolitically we are as Africans, and probably as we've already been used to having somebody we look up to, who, and having been marginalized for so long and knowing how politics of this country works, you have somebody who is aggressive and has your interest at heart, and who is pro people and understands the situations and scenario of the people and the history and the morals of our people, to be at that table when the negotiations are being done. So
Okay.
having that in mind, I'm really beseeching and entreating our people to really back Mheshimiwa Babu Owino. And thank you very much, Benson, for your time. And my regards to the audience. I cannot see them, but I'm glad they tuned in.
Thank you so much, and may God bless you. If you also have a chance, please pass my regards to Honorable Jalang'o too.
All right, I will.
Okay, thank you so much, and may God bless you.
You too, Baba. Thank you.